Hey guys, you may have noticed that I'm wearing the most British stuff ever. Right? Yeah, that's normal. So today I just want to tell you a little story I found on Halloween about, it was on the Mythical Mornings, one of the Mythical Morning episodes from, 2 months ago, on October 31st. So I'm gonna die, it's kind of funny. The last man on earth sat alone in a room. There was a knock on the door. There were 6 knocks, thrice louder each time. Then there's silence. The end. Yes, the end is knocking. The end knocks on the door, the last man alive. And then there's silence. The knocks alter him to the presence of the end. It was the absolute silence that bothered the man. Did the end go away? Was it still at the door? He could check, but the end might be waiting there for him. What if it wasn't the end? What if it was someone else? Another person? What if he was ignoring another person? What if the end has not come yet? What if it was coming and there's someone else on the other side of the door? But if that was so, why didn't they knock more? Maybe the end had come. There's always a small chance. Should he open the door or ignore the knocking? Then the person came bursting through the door asking for sugar. The last man jumped back in surprise and reached into a bag next to him and threw something at the person. What was the something? Bag of sugar. Alternating, a knife. Or feces. That was my original thought, but I wanted to see what else people come with. It was poop. The last woman. Hooray! The good ending. It was a tree blown by the wind. Yeah, I just did that. The man walked towards the door. He turned the knob and slowly opens it. He stares out into the empty street. The house is seemingly staring back at him. He steps outside. He walks in the street. He notices a house. Nothing really special about it. Just something about the house that seemed odd. Everything seemed odd. He was alone. Not alone. He walked to the house. He walked to the door and knocked. The door opened. Then Corey in the house was there on the theater screen while some people were humping coal. It was a woman. And there's his pet monkey. And it was a rabbit. It was a woman. And the man suddenly realized that it was the monster. This monster that stole his livelihood from him. This was the creature that drove all his friends away. This was the abomination, wearing his face for a mask, that forced his wife to hide his children from him. Those were rare times that he resisted. The spirit would torment him with pain and dark visions. Even though it was his own weakness that forced him to succumb, he faltered. Strength, melted by doubt, flowed from him down his cheeks. He reached out, grabbing the spirit by the neck, and he poured himself another glass. I'm just looking. Can I make you up a fancy queen? 5 missed calls from your mom. From LJ Labyrinth 006. Okay. Roblox player, I guess. One time there was a moment in my dream when it was 1:07 in the morning. I had just woken up within my dream. There was something that was touching the curtain door. All of a sudden, when I was going slowly towards the door, something that ripped right through it with a blade. When I was toppled over by him and pinned down, one look on his face I could tell it was a demon. There's no other way to describe him. He looked like anyone else that I've seen, wearing a white jacket, black shirt and jeans. However, his face was completely blank of expression except for a cruel, cheekless grin that could only be described as insane. His smile was so fierce that corners of his grin were bleeding from strain. He has no eyes, but the empty eye sockets were open and gushing with blood. His hair was most bizarre, being shaped like a pine tree on top of his head and coming down on his shoulders and dreadlocks. He was wearing a green amulet on his neck. He was sticking his sword into my throat, and before I died, he said, "The code is almonds." I woke up in cold sweat. The first thing I checked was if my head was still in place. It was. I realized it was just a dream. Then, as I thought about what the demon said, I smelled the scent of almonds in the air as I heard someone have again broken the room. When I checked the clock, it was 1:06 morning. The someone began touching my current door as the clock struck 1:07. The end. Here's one from Brendan Risney. I was about 6 and in the bathroom brushing my teeth. I stepped out of bar in a wolf mask and crawled up to the door to scare me. When he crawled and growled, I screamed and kicked him in the face about 3 times before I gave you back up. My mom, who had just through this, was laughing so hard. If we had got it on tape, it would have so been I'm probably a 99 efiction. 468451684651684668764681612316841684168. I'm not reading all that. I remember one day I was up in my room and I heard my mom call me downstairs. As I was walking out of my room into the hallway, my mother stopped me and said, "Don't go downstairs." I heard that too. Another one. A father goes into his son's room to tell him a good night story. The son asked the dad to check on his bed for monsters. He bent down to see his son in the bed and he said, "Dad, there's something in my bed." Max Lorge. Wow. Dude, you pretty cool. A mother and father hired a babysitter while they went out to diner. About halfway through, the kids complained about the angel statue in their house that was scaring the kids. The sister called up the father. He said, "Get the kids out of there right now. We don't have an angel statue." That was the day everybody found out that Daddy had Alzheimer's. I once saw my parents enter another room. I then saw them from the kitchen on the other side of the house walk towards me. That was the weirdest thing in my life. By the way, no kitchen from that room. Life, not life. In 2013, from Groover Page. In 2013, I went as a brain surgeon, and a month before that, went to the HorrorCon in Indianapolis, Indiana. I took a pic of Robert Englund. I ripped the zipper off a little, and I had to use spirit gum to put it back on. And when I was at the door of someone's house, the zipper fell off, and I forgot to bring the spirit gum with me. And I was just embarrassed to leave the house. Oh, here's a scary story from Spatinlugia. A boy is home alone because an emergency came for his parents. He has a knock at his door, and it's his friend who says that his parents were with the boy's parents, so he was also home alone. He started hanging out with him. So they started playing and everything, and finally the friend leaves because he said his parents have to be back right now. So he leaves. So the boy waits home alone, and then he hears a knock at the door and sees a shadow outside. He opens the door, and it's his parents. The boy asks what happened and what emergency was about. His parents say, "Your friend died in a car accident." Here's a real life one. This happened to me. I was quite little when I lived in a unit apartment. My apartment was quite dodgy. There was burnt wood stacked up, random old porcelain dolls, probably my neighbors anyway. I was playing and my mom told me to go to sleep. I refused to. My mom tells me scary stuff, typical stories, monsters, to make me go to bed. But they messed up. She told me if I didn't go to bed, monsters would get me. And the moment my TV randomly turns on, the remote was on the other side of the room. So went to bed. I was waiting for Mom to tuck me in, and that's like my favorite blanket. It fell right between the bed and the wall. It was a very small space. My arm could just fit. I grabbed my blanket and started passed out. I couldn't see anything. Alligator was faint laughing. Here's one from Amelia Langford. One day there was a girl. She had a dog and a fairly big house. One day her parents said they were going out for a week to visit their parents. Every night to help her get to sleep, she let her dog lick her hand. The night her parents left, she let her dog lick her hand like normal. His tongue felt weird, but nice. She heard a dripping noise, so she went to the bathroom. The tap wasn't dripping, so she went back to bed. Later on, she woke up to the dripping. It was around midnight. She checked the kitchen. Nothing. She awoke yet again later, about 1 in the morning. The dripping still there. She got out of bed, but left her slippers behind. She went to the cellar. The steps were wet. She fell on a wet, furry thing on the floor. She stumbled around for a torch, but when she found it, she saw they were all written in blood. Dogs aren't the only licking creatures. And her dog is out on the floor.
Who are you talking to?
No, and I'm just doing a YouTube video.
You ain't supposed to leave these undone. You get all that stuff up over.
Uh-oh. I'm looking. Amen. Amen. I broke my leg on Halloween when I was in 7th grade. Me and my friend were trying to get as many houses as we possibly could before the sun went down, because after the sun went down we would have had to be with an adult, and that's lame, so we were running to the next house. And where's the punctuation in this thing?
What?
I'm reading this and there's no punctuation, it's just a long run-on sentence.
Or
Right here, see? It's a long run-on sentence.
quit reading that dirty stuff.
It's not what dirty!
UML.
Biohazard 1x1. I wasn't talking about Cookie Thief 1. I wasn't even reading that one. It was a scary story. Right before Christmas break on the last day, that last second, our teacher turned around with a crooked smile and said, "You have homework." We shook in terror, but he continued, "It's only for a question. Each has 50 parts." The worst nightmare ever. Miley Cyrus. Ah! Okay. Anne Marie Orr has a scary story. It's supposedly true. About 13 years ago, when I was 2, we moved our TV into the basement. Me and my family were watching Friday the 13th, so of course I was very scared because I was only 2. My older brother screamed like H.E. double hockey sticks at the end. After the movie we were all talking about. Then in the corner of the basement, one of our toys started playing music. My brother checked to see if the switch was off, and it was. So we all went to bed, and this is where it gets creepy. My older brother and I shared the same room, so I got up to turn the lights off, and when his hand So he got to help to turn off. When his hand was 1 foot away, the switch flicked down by itself. Okay, James Natale has a story for us, saying it's a Halloween-based story that is based off a true story. Okay, it begins on October 13th, and I was having a casual Friday playing video games and watching video games and playing outside. So I went inside after playing Manhunt after hearing some noises. When I went outside, my friend was gone. I went up to look to try to find them, but I couldn't. It was dead silent and pitch black. I thought they were just pulling a prank on me, so I searched for them. Out of nowhere, I see one out of 4 running out with blood on his clothes. He said that they were camping in the abandoned house. We never saw them again that night. We would find them later the next day with pale faces saying, "Obey the master." They never would explain the story, and never would act the same for a week. After having a sleepover, and yeah, with them, a week later I heard weird noises when I was trying to sleep. Me and one of my friends were the only ones acting normal. When I looked outside, he was gone. All I could see when looking into the bedroom was my friend getting stabbed by my other friends. At 2 in the morning, all I heard was screaming, never to see any of my friends again. Part 2. But this story's made up. A boy around the age of 10 was home alone every day because his parents were at work. His parents decided one day to get him a dog and a cat. One day he was sleeping to pass time and the door wasn't locked. He felt his dog leaning his hand because the sink was left. He felt the dog leaning his hand because the sink was left on. He went off his bed to shut it off. The dog was not in his bed when he got back, so he went back to sleep. About 5 minutes later, he felt his dog living again. He noticed the bathtub was left on, so he went to shut it off. Again, the dog was in the bed. One time, he felt his dog leaning his hand to shut air conditioner off. He couldn't find his dog or cat, so he went downstairs to get water. He then checked if the dog or cat was down there. Right when he walked down the last step, he saw random blood leak. Ooh. He looked to his left and saw his dead cat coming from him. To his right, he saw his dog's last moments dying from ruin. Ruins around would never be heard from again. Part 3. I think this one's real too. This part starts with a girl and ends 13. There are 2 dogs and 2 cats outside. It was 11:30 at night, and she heard screaming from upstairs. It was only her and her sister, so she looked up to see what happened. She saw her sister covered in blood down on the floor. Ready to run out the door, doors locked shut and impossible to leave the house. She looked out the window and saw all of her pets bloody, eating what looked like to be her mom and dad. She knew something was wrong and called the cops. When they arrived, they luckily arrived to the house and got the girl out. 2 cops were going to the big house to investigate. About 10 minutes later, the girl and the cop opened the door to see one cop hanging from the ceiling to death, and the other was covered with blood, dying. Before he did die, he rose the clock and he said, 12 o'clock. Where's the girl? She was like 17 and was watching the news. Mom, can I go to Kelsey's house? Chest? Sure, Candy. Just be back for dark. Candy walked down the street to her friend's house. Being outside at night made her nervous, so she ran, though it wasn't dark yet. She and Kelsey had hung out for a little while, and then Candy glanced out the window. She realized it was already dark. Candy and Kelsey were watching TV, and an announcement came on. Everyone outside gets inside immediately. A murderer has escaped from prison and is on the loose. Candy had listened. She was walking home when she was attacked. She pounded on the front door, screaming, "Let me in! Please! Mom!" Nobody came to the door. Unknown to Candy, her mom had gone to pick her up from Kelsey. She left a single note written in blood. "You should have opened the door." Here's a story like Living Nightmares. 50 Shades of Grey. Look behind you. If you actually look behind, you're an absolute mushroom. Oh, what a man. Here's a story. Never mind. Okay, guys. The scariest story never told. Completely transcribed for entertainment purposes. House broken. Little Timmy was all alone in the woods. Was that complete sense? Yes, and he was searching for his sister who had just a few minutes earlier run into the woods to tinkle. He was listening to the sound of pitter-patter of tinkling on the floor of the woods, and he heard it. When he arrived, it was not his sister tinkling. It's my turn. He approached slowly and saw what the non-tinkling sound was. It was blood. Blood? Can I pick up there? 'Cause I have an idea. No, I'll say it again. Yes, it was blood dripping from high above somewhere. Coming from the dismembered head of a goat that had been the victim of some sort of weird sacrifice from the neighbor Trevor. Yes, bad, spooky Trevor, who only came out to feed his goats. We never knew that it would go this far. So Tommy said, "I have a choice to make. I can call the police and say to your name alone, my sister. But that's to be 24 hours have had to pass, so it doesn't apply, or I can call the police and tell them about Trevor. Our third option would be go to Trevor's house at 3 o'clock a.m., and that's what I'm going to do," he said. And so he approached Trevor's house, following the stream of gold blood. And on the way in his backyard, he saw many other animals that had been dismembered, and it was very gross and spooky. He said to himself, Trevor needs help. Trevor needed to see someone. Michael laughed, and then Trevor laughed. Like that, and that was him laughing, not me, because he was at the door seeing the whole thing unfold. He said to himself, look at that Tommy. He kept laughing like that. He's not a ghost, so I won't harm him. I don't want it to get too bad here at the end. And then Tommy came, "Trevor, he has inside our secretary immediately. By the way, have you seen my sister?" He's like, "Oh yeah, she's inside. We're sacrificing this guy." But the end, and that's the biggest story never told. Trevor. One evening. This is from Kyle Castro. Sorry if I've been saying the names. One evening, a man calls his father on the phone, as his father is about to die in the hospital. After talking for a while, the man's father dies. The man starts to cry. Later, the man gets a call from the hospital and is asked about who he was talking to. He replies it was his father, and the person from the hospital says that his father died this morning. Nobody gonna be hand, say I don't wanna be in love. I don't wanna be in love. Nah, when you got nothing left, say I don't wanna be in love. I don't wanna be in love. I was scared of dentist and the dark. I was scared. I wasn't so. I'm gonna stop singing. My younger sister and me from this guy girl called Kiddo. Guy. My younger sister and me went trick-or-treating when she was younger, and she was just in the but the neighbors had candles on the porch and it just caught on fire. Ooh. He just made you wipe your screen. Oh. The last man in the world is playing some video games, and then for the lulz he decided to go on multiplayer. He finds the game. From Malaya Johnson. This year laughed so hard. My best friend and I met in kindergarten. We are now 26. I have recently started watching videos and will definitely share. Oh, this isn't a scary story. Yeah. Well, my friends, that's all for today. Hold on, I need to get my pillow, because I thought I was signing out now. Everybody, have fun pillow fights. God, this is very hard to do.